Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network, betonline.ag for all your sports gambling needs, and of course, the most dynamic movie theater in all of the Triad area. Be sure to check out Red Cinemas. You can rent the place out. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. RedCinemas.com is the website right there on your way to downtown Greensboro. Be sure to check them out. There are going to be some spoilers ahead. This is your boy Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, and today I'm joined with
Ryan Saba, Captain Cleveland, Browns, Cavs, Guardians, CLE, till I die.
Always good to have some.
I was trying on the fly to think of a call sign, and I said, you know what? Don't fuck it up. Just go.
I mean, to me, our nicknames are our call signs. Like you would be on your F-18, it would say Captain Cleveland.
No, it'd say Mr. Sabretooth.
Mine would say El Nino. So we're going to be talking about two of the hottest movies on the planet right now, Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion. We are going to be starting off with Top Gun Maverick as far as highs, lows, everything in between. Same thing with Jurassic World Dominion, and we would love to hear your feedback. Please be sure to check out the website. We want to see the comments. Check us out on social media, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere else. Zero Dark Nerdy. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to be able to express that on our episodes. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports development, including this year's basketball championship finals, the NHL conference finals, Major League Baseball, the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to get the bonus and get into the action. Bet online, where the game starts. Let's go ahead and start with the movie that came out first, Top Gun Maverick, and we'll go ahead and start off with Captain Cleveland, a.k.a. Mr. Sabretooth.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people have seen Top Gun, obviously, because it's, the biggest movie in the world right now. And it's close to, I think it's like 800 million worldwide. It's around 500 million, I think, in the US, after the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I guess. It's the biggest, I believe it was the biggest opening of Tom Cruise's career. Mm-hmm. And it was also, I think it's the highest grossing movie of his career so far, which is a little bit surprising because of some of those, blockbusters, right. Minority Report, obviously all the Mission Impossibles and, many, many more. So look, it's a good movie. It's fucking awesome. I would say the first maybe 30 minutes or so. I mean, I was grinning and smiling the whole time. I mean, they get you with the Kenny Loggins right out of the gates. Mm-hmm. They're on the fucking, they're on the aircraft carrier. He busts out the motorcycle. They, take him back to Top Gun, the whole 9 yards. What I will say is this. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of a feedback sandwich here, right? Okay. So with a feedback sandwich, you start with good, you give a little bit of negative criticism, and then you end with good, right? So I started with the good. The first 30 minutes is very nostalgic, takes you back to 86. You're smiling. You feel very, very good. Here is the negative. All right, so there's 4 iconic scenes in the original Top Gun, right? The opening scene when they get inverted with the MiG and give them the finger. I feel the need for speed, all that, right? The scene when they go to Top Gun and Slider comes in there. There's 2 O's and Goose Boys, and Iceman's like the plaque for the alternates is in the ladies' room. Right? That's iconic. when they're at the bar and they do You've Lost That Loving Feeling.
Yeah.
That's iconic. And then the next day when she comes in, he's like, that's classified, all that. Like, there are the first hour of Top Gun, the original, is there are no iconic scenes in this movie like that. There just isn't. And look, maybe I need to see it a couple more times because I've seen Top Gun, probably no bullshit. I've probably seen that movie 50 times.
Yeah.
So it's one of my favorites. So like I said, the first 30 minutes of this movie is very nostalgic, makes me think back to 86. My criticism of it is there are no iconic scenes. Now, here is the other. I'm going to wrap with the positive.
Okay.
Time has been very, very good to Tom Cruise. The guy is fucking amazing. He's still a great actor. The fact that they're making this movie 36 years later, I mean, the dogfighting scenes and the plane scenes in the original are amazing. But like what they did in this it's fucking mind blowing. It's just awesome. And you're on the edge of your seat for, I don't want to give away too much, but there is like this impossible task that they have to do. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I didn't know if they were going to do it. Like, I was probably in you know what? I'm not even going to say anything else there. I'm just going to say that, the dogfighting scenes, the plane scenes, everything. I mean, you can tell that these guys were really in planes. Tom Cruise was great. Jennifer Connelly is chef's kiss. I mean, she is, love her. She's amazing. Was great in this movie. Miles Teller. I mean, dude, he's moving up the list of like one of my favorite young actors. He is so good in everything that he does. He was phenomenal in this movie. I loved him. And I'm going to say this too. Fucking Glenn Powell, the guy that plays Hangman, he is such a dick. He is such a fucking asshole. And I'm like talking to Courtney. I'm like, dude, I fucking hate this guy. And she's like, why do you hate him? He is like if Maverick and Iceman had a baby. He is a more metamorphosis of their two attitudes. And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I fucking love this guy. Yeah. Glenn Powell is awesome. The cast was awesome. The movie is it's really good. But here's the thing. It's not the original. And I am, people who are young that don't love the original the way that I love the original or like we love the original. Yeah. They don't have the bias that we have. So they're going to fucking love this movie. And they're going to be like, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest action movies I've ever seen. Yeah. And I would agree with that, except for the fact that it doesn't have those iconic scenes.
Gotcha. So what would you rate this movie?
I give it 3.5, 3.5 coins. Right. Look, I'm a fucking Marvel whore and we talk about it all the time. I overrate the Marvel movies. And I think everybody knows that watches this. So the challenge is people are gonna be like, yo, this is the lowest movie you've ever rated on it, except for the Joker. I fucking gave the Joker a horrible review, but it's a really, really great movie. See it in the theater. I may go back and actually see it again in IMAX. I just saw it in sort of standard. I saw it at Red Cinema. Courtney and I went on Wednesday after work because it'd been out for almost 3 weeks and I hadn't seen it yet. So I give it 3.5 coins, only because I cannot get past. Like, he didn't even say, I feel the need for speed. Like, I wanted that so bad. And I thought he was going to say it at one point. Now, one other positive, they could have gotten really cheesy with this movie.
And I feel like if they would have done like I feel the need for speed, then they.
I don't know though, bro.
That's
like there was a perfect time when they could have said it, like when they stole the plane at the end, like, and he's got Miles Teller as the Rio in the back, like they could have done it then. There was a couple parts where, were a little cheesy, like when Miles Teller was like, talk to me, Dad, like I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But he said, talk to me, Goose, just enough. And then the right moments, like they could have gone over the top with nostalgia on this. And I think they did a really good balance of being just nostalgic enough, but not being cringeworthy.
Agreed 100%. Anything can happen during the second half of the NASCAR season. Experience the thrills, the drama, and the acceleration on the NBC family of networks. The push for the playoffs begins in Nashville Sunday, June 26th on NBC and Peacock at 4 p.m. Central Time. And join us the following weekend for NASCAR Road America Sunday, July 3rd, 2 p.m. Central Time, only on the USA Network. So like Saba, here's the thing. I was actually confused when it first started because the very intro is the intro of Top Gun.
Yes, with the text and everything.
The text and everything. So I was like, oh my God, did this movie theater fuck up? And we're actually getting ready to watch the original Top Gun. So that like gave me a little mini panic attack. But then it goes Top Gun and then you see Maverick underneath it and you're just like, oh, thank God. What they did with these scenes. And so Joseph Kosinski, it looks like, is the director of the movie who did Only the Brave with Miles Teller. And then he did Oblivion with Tom Hanks. So obviously he's working with two actors that appreciate him.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Tom Cruise. And then does this movie. So they worked their way up. They flew on some like regular planes and then they were the actual passengers on F-18s for just a measly $11,000 a day from the government. So when you see the shit kick in, and that to me is the most exciting part about the whole entire movie is how more realistic it was, obviously, compared to the first one. Because the first one, you're just really kind of seeing battle scenes. You're seeing them, green screen behind them, this, that, and the other. This felt like I was actually in this shit. So, but going back to the beginning and everything else, yes, I agree. I just had chills because growing up, I had like little fighter jets around. Like I wanted to fucking join the Navy. I wanted to fly this shit. I see you agreeing. I mean, I'm sure that you're like up there with me.
I mean, I don't know if I wanted to be a naval aviator, but I've been again, we talked about this in I've been talking about wanting to see this movie for 4 fucking years. Okay.
Yeah. This was supposed to come out in 2020. So this has been a part of our movie premiere episodes for the last 3 years.
Yes.
So we are finally glad to actually have it out. But yeah, the storyline's good. Jennifer Connelly's great. I really thought that they did a fantastic job with the Val Kilmer cameo. It was touching. For a lot of you that don't know, he doesn't have a voice anymore. I can't remember if it was cancer or whatnot.
Yeah, he had throat cancer.
Yeah, throat cancer. So he literally doesn't have a voice. So I thought that they did very, very well with that. And then just the whole when you hear him, and I think it was his son playing the voice, because if you ever watched the Val documentary, I think it's on either Amazon. I think it is on Amazon Prime. It's done very, very well. There's a moment in there where he's like, so who's the better pilot? And then Tom Cruise says, let's not ruin this moment. I mean, I literally, I was just like, oh my gosh, there's nowhere to go but up. To me, and like Saba, I'm going to go positive, negative, and then back to positive. Negative, my two main negatives are, all right, so you have Goose's son, Rooster, doing Great Balls of Fire. This song is 55 years old, okay? When they first did it, I could get it. It's a classic. This is before the days of YouTube and everything else. It's just one of those things like, oh, you hear it on classic rock radio. I get that. The whole entire bar full of millennials is singing Great Balls of Fire. And I'm just like, this is incredibly unrealistic. But no, go ahead. I see you with your finger in the air.
You're such a fucking killjoy.
I'm just saying. I don't even know all the words to Great Balls of Fire.
You could tell. Hold on. You could tell that wasn't the first time he did that, because they're like, oh, here he goes.
Right.
So right. Maybe.
I got you. And trust me, my complaints about this movie are so fucking minimal. It's ridiculous, because that's literally one of them. And the second one is, I do feel like the last act was rush. Like, the rescuing Tom Cruise, he came out of nowhere, and then they just kind of like run over. And of course, there's like the F-18. That's it. Like, those are my only two complaints on a phenomenal movie. Because here's the thing, and Saba may not like this. And we're going to get to this on another episode. After Doctor Strange, I'm not saying I'm over, because I cannot wait for the new Thor. I really can't. I think I'm over the multiverse, plain and simple. I'm just over the multiverse and everything that it has to do with. I think that Top Gun proves, and it's to all the directors out there that are like, oh, we can't make movies anymore because everything is a comic book movie. This movie, to me, saved like summer blockbusters that don't have to do with comic books. Just in my opinion. And honestly, Saba, I would love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, I think that there's value with what you just said. I don't know how you could be over the multiverse a year into this phase. Like, give it fucking time to develop, for Christ's sakes. Like, Jesus, like you're so.
I know that's another episode.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road, but I was just watching Endgame. It was on TNT before we started recording this, and I was sitting there going, "God, man, this is when fucking superhero movies were great," So I'm with you. So what I will say is, you can still make a great movie that doesn't have a comic book character in it.
Correct. And I think that this movie.
Now, hold on. Will the studio give you as much leeway and creative freedom and those kinds of things if it's sort of an original story? Probably not, but that's where Top Gun has the benefit of it's a sequel. It's 36 years later, but it's a sequel. So they had a little bit of more creative freedom than necessarily you will. And let's be honest now, some of the best movies that are coming out, action movies, they're not being released in theaters. They're being released straight
Amazon
to
and
Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. So look, there's a forum for it, right? I mean, I think the theatrical releases, the world's still recovering from COVID too, right?
And and Tom Cruise flat out said, I do not want this movie released on a streaming platform. I want it.
That was smart. That was very, very smart.
And you got to figure too, and I think my biggest takeaway, and we talked about this off camera, it's hard to do a sequel. Very hard to do a sequel 30 plus years later and still get the respect of old school fans like us, and also have the Miles Tellers of the world, Hangman, like bringing in this new cast. Now, are they going to continue to make these, and are they going to be successful? Who the fuck knows? But I will say, for a sequel this far, especially this far away from the original, this is probably one of the best ones I've seen. And I'm not talking Godfather Part 3 over here. I'm talking like a legit sequel, just Part 2, this far away, I would say. And let's just say both movies came out around the same time. But I really don't want to say that. Either way, though, it's a good sequel. It's a good movie. It's a great popcorn flick. Are there some plot holes in there? Yes, of course. You know what I mean? Every fucking blockbuster movie has plot holes, even if it's a comic book movie. But at the same time, though, I was entertained the entire time, and I was smiling ridiculously.
Yeah, I mean, if you do the math, Miles Teller's 40 years old, right? Like, he's my age.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest plot hole. Like, he's a little too fucking young to be the kid that was sitting on the piano with the cowboy hat on in 86,
Right. True. This is true, because my daughter, she was born in 2001 and she's getting ready to be 21. So I am going to give it 4 rings. Like I said, incredibly entertaining. Can't wait to watch it again. Is it as rewatchable as the original? I don't know. I mean, I still love the original. To me, the soundtrack, especially for 80s and 90s movies, and this is another podcast for another day, soundtracks do make a gigantic difference. Now, Lady Gaga's song for this movie is the shit. It just wasn't utilized as much as a lot of those songs were in the original. I would have loved to have maybe seen that just a little bit more, especially the scenes between him and Jennifer Connelly. So that way we could have got that, take my breath, the dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean? But besides that, phenomenal movie, great sequel. I can see why Tom Cruise was very adamant on not putting this out on a streaming platform and having it in theaters but for the exception of comic book movies and Everything Everywhere All at Once, which that'll be another episode for another day, I haven't been this entertained in a movie theater in a while. Next movie up for grabs.
Yeah. I saw both of these last week.
Yeah.
I saw Top Gun on Wednesday. I saw Top Gun on Wednesday, and I saw Jurassic Park on Sunday yesterday.
All right. So what are your thoughts on Jurassic World Dominion, which is apparently going to wrap up this entire series? The first three, right? Jurassic Parks? Was it four?
No.
Yeah, first three, and then these three.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear your feedback on this.
So in the same way that, Top Gun had a little 80s nostalgia, this definitely had a 90s nostalgia, 90s vibe. It was really, really great to have the original cast back in it. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. I would have liked to have seen Jeff Goldblum have a slightly larger role. Sam Neill and Laura Dern had a great size role. So the nostalgia and sort of the callback to, the original Jurassic Park and all that was great. That's the positive. What I'll say sort of with the negative, I mean, all these fucking movies are the same, man. Like, look, they're entertaining all kind of in their own way, but like they got out. They got out and somebody's got to go do something. And there's, a big vicious hybrid dinosaur now that, is attacking people and all that. So, look, it was the third of the Jurassic World trilogy was better than the second one. I thought the second one was really bad. Mm-hmm. Where they introduced him and her, Bryce Dallas Howard, and in that whole thing. The second one wasn't great. This third one was, look, it was better. I don't know. The dynamic of this was certainly different with, sort of dinosaurs coexisting with, human life and all that. I hope that they make more of these movies, but I hope that they wait 14 years like they did between the first trilogy and the second trilogy. There needs to be time. There needs to be time for this stuff to kind of cool off and for them to, technology to improve. I will say, I do like, I watched the movie yesterday at 1:30, and then I came home and on FX or whatever, they were showing Jurassic World and Jurassic World Dominion, Fallen Kingdom, right? The movie 4 and 5 or 1 and 2 of the second trilogy, if you will. And I will, the last sort of positive thing that I will say is, in the first trilogy, T-Rex was kind of the villain, right? And the Raptors were the villains. And I really enjoy how they, sort of created, made the villains from the first trilogy kind of the, the anti-heroes or whatever, right? Like the T-Rex always kind of came and saved the day in the second trilogy. Obviously the story with Blue and Owen's ability to, communicate and have that bond and, sort of utilize them in certain, utilize the Raptors in certain capacity, was good. So, that's just kind of my overall look. Am I going to watch it when it comes on FX? Probably. Would I will, because I watch these Jurassic movies when they come on TV because, I enjoy the dinosaur piece of it. Do they need to chill out for a while? Yeah, they do. And I came home and I started doing some research, and it's funny. They're actually already talking about kicking off another trilogy with the gal who's the pilot, the kid who was the communications guy that sort of tipped off Ian Malcolm, and the villain, the woman who stole the girl and everything and brought him. I don't know her name, but she's been in a lot of different things. I hope they chill out. My score, I'm gonna give it 4 and no, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. 2 and I give it 2 coins. It's officially, it's not as bad as the Joker, in my opinion, but it's right there. I mean, it's just we're tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. The acting is good. I love Chris Pratt. I love Bryce Dallas Howard. I love the original cast coming back. That's the only thing that saved this movie. Like, that's it.
I love it. For a lot of you that have been listening for the last 4 years, Saba and I may agree on some things. There's a lot of things that we don't agree on. Definitely agree on this. So I saw this yesterday, and I'm gonna start off with the good, only because I don't trash movies often on this podcast. Y'all know I don't, but I do not have a lot of good things to say. Who he was talking about, DeWanda Wise. This is a rising star,
but she's a fucking star. There's no doubt.
So DeWanda, if you're hearing this, we would love to have you on the show. You are amazing. To me, she is literally the main highlight of the whole entire movie. So that's my start. Like I said, she was in Fatherhood with Kevin Hart. Check that out on Netflix. Harder They Fall on Netflix. Someone great on Netflix. She's crushing it. So let's get to the bad. I felt like this was a very boring, unimaginative, slow, and predictable movie. I really did. Like, I was about to pass out halfway through it. And the only parts that kind of got me to jump was when Laura Dean and all them were in the caverns and they were trying to get out of the cavern.
That got me.
That was it.
I almost shit my pants. I'm not going to lie.
Me too. It scared the shit out of me. And I'm not one for jump scares, but I feel like the original Jurassic Park had a lot more just kind of thrills and dynamic and everything else. Like, to me, it's not just so much about the special effects. Like, I feel like the acting was great and all the scenes were fantastic. I just feel like, again, they just threw dinosaurs everywhere. I would have liked to see more
everywhere. Like, every time
it's
like, oh, I just got through a life. Like, with the amount of adversity that they had to face, there's no way you live through that.
No,
it's just like, oh, I beat this one. Oh, now here's a bigger, scarier, more lethal dinosaur.
Exactly. Now, I did think it was cool when they finally got all together. The first group from the first movie, and then with the new group, I thought that was kind of nice. But again, short-lived. Again, DeWanda Wise as Kayla Waits. You steal the show, honey. I mean, if I can make this podcast all about you, I would, because you are a star and you are going to be crushing it.
So I just listen. Owen Grady is his last name, dude. Chris Pratt. He's awesome. He's great in that movie.
Not bad. And I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, she's great. They're talking about her. They're talking about her directing the next one. Yeah.
And she's directed a lot of episodes of The Mandalorian. I mean, she's in her father's footsteps as Ron Howard. She's great. And that's the thing. There are great performances in here, between Bryce Dallas Howard and, like, really the majority of the cast. It's not so much like the guy that ran the place.
He's a fucking
that
idiot.
Motherfucker. I mean, it was predictable. It's like, okay, I just can't wait to see you die because
it's the same thing every time. It's the guy in charge is the problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose the Barbasol can and then I get fucked up.
Yeah.
So I mean, besides that though, the movie itself, again, predictable, boring. By the time it got to the third act, I actually was waking up a little bit. But the first 2 acts, it took everything in me to stay awake. And I hate to say this about any movie with Chris Pratt and everybody else in there. But you're right. Like, please, let's take a break. Let's not go right back into the Jurassic
15
era.
years.
Take a break, and then
it was a 14-year break between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World.
Yeah,
take a 14 or 15-year break.
Yeah.
If I'm 55 when the next one comes out, you did something right.
Yeah, agreed. Agree, because I don't want to fall asleep at a movie theater, and like I said, it was just so predictable. And on top of that too, so my last gripe: how is Bryce Dallas Howard running away on foot from a raptor, but Chris Pratt and like everybody else in an automobile is barely getting away from a raptor?
Those were the super raptors.
Yeah, and she's just running away from them. Chris Pratt.
Yeah, well, she was on the roof.
Everybody else.
She was on the roof and jumped it through I mean, it's believable.
I'm just like, if you can just catch up to that person on a motorcycle that goes, 40 miles an hour? Let's just say 45 max. And on foot, the fastest person on earth is what? Usain Bolt at, let's just say 20 miles
25. 25.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just like, come on. And I'm not here looking for plot holes. Again, it was just not well written. You can tell they're just trying to pump this shit out. All right, how do we get everybody from the original into this movie? Have it make sense with the gigantic, not wasp, what the hell are they called?
Locusts.
That shit freaks me out more than fucking anything else.
I thought Sam Neill and Laura Dern were great. Sam Neill has aged very, very well.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum, obviously, I mean, has aged very well. I thought Laura Dern aged very well. Again, like I said, I wish we would have had a little more Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
He was kind of in there and then he was not. And then he kind of at the end came in. But the Sam Neill, Dr. Alan Grant character, Laura Dern with Ellie Sadler, like I was transported back to 1993 when the original came out. I mean, they did but they're both fucking phenomenal actors, right? Exactly. So it doesn't surprise me that they were able to, sort of very easily return into those roles.
Yeah. And again, the performances were great. They really were. Just the storyline and let's just throw dinosaurs everywhere. And then the rest of us just have to adapt to a random brontosaurus just fucking stepping on my crib. Like, no, I think it would have made more sense if there would have been some kind of agency that would have been like, okay, we need to maybe try to put them in another natural habitat that's away from here instead of just.
They did. They were taking them to Italy, bro. Biosyn. Did you not see the fucking movie?
I did. But that obviously didn't work until the very end. And then, we go from there. So those are our reviews for Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World. We would love to have your feedback on there. Be sure to check us out on our website.
You didn't give your stars or your coins.
Oh, my coins, it gets two. And it's only because of the acting performances. It has nothing to do with the storyline at all whatsoever. And the majority of that coin is DeWanda Wise. We love you. You are fantastic. You are a star on the rise, and we cannot wait for you to crush this shit. So, be sure to check us out. Social media, Zero Dark Nerdy, water cooler for all your sports entertainment festivities out there. On behalf of everybody from Zero Dark Nerdy, this is B. Hearn.
Captain Cleveland, Ryan Sable.
And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
Hey, it's Michelle Beadle. That's right, the Michelle Beadle. You're welcome. You love talking about sports. I love talking about sports. You know the only thing cooler than talking about sports? Sports! And right now, all your favorite sports are on Sirius XM. I'm talking every NFL game, every game from the NBA, NHL, MLB, every NASCAR race, golf major conference college sports, and all the top games in the WNBA. If it gets your heart pumping, it's on Sirius XM. To start your free trial of Sirius XM today, visit SiriusXM.com/believe.